Imagine waking up one morning and realizing your entire life feels like you're trapped inside a badly designed customer support system. No instructions, no appeal button, no human on the other side. Just rules. Endless rules. And somehow it's your fault. That feeling? Congrats. You're already living inside Franz Kafka's brain. Kafka didn't predict the future with flying cars or AI overlords. He predicted forms, bureaucracy, guilt without a cause, and the soul-crushing feeling that something is wrong, but no one will explain what. And here's the wild part. Kafka never wanted to be famous. He asked his best friend to burn everything he wrote. All of it. Gone. Deleted. Hard reset. Instead, his work survived. And now his name is literally an adjective. Kafkan. A word meaning life feels like a nightmare. But everyone's pretending it's normal. So today we're talking about the most anxious writer in human history. The man who turned modern dread into literature. And why, over 100 years later, Kafka feels less like an author and more like a system update we never agreed to install. Franz Kafka was born in 1883 in Prague, then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was Jewish, spoke German, lived in a Czech-speaking city, and belonged fully to absolutely no group. Already off to a great start. Kafka studied law, not because he loved it, but because it paid the bills. By day, he worked at an insurance office reviewing workplace accidents. By night, he wrote stories about people crushed by invisible systems. No metaphor there, totally unrelated. Kafka was quiet, hyper-self-critical, chronically ill, and deeply anxious. He had complicated relationships, especially with his father, who was domineering, emotionally distant, and terrifying in that I don't need to raise my voice to control you way. Kafka wrote obsessively, but published very little while alive. He constantly felt his work wasn't good enough. He called himself a failure. He assumed no one would care. Then tuberculosis hit. Kafka died in 1924 at just 40 years old. Before dying, he made one request. Please destroy all my unpublished work. His friend Max Brod said, no. History said, thank you. Kafka lived in a world where everything was becoming more organized and more suffocating. Industrialization, paperwork, expanding governments, growing cities, job titles nobody understood, laws nobody voted on. Think modern capitalism, but in beta mode. Imagine the early 90s as LinkedIn meets imperial bureaucracy. No therapy, no HR, no unsubscribe button. Empires were cracking, identities were unstable, anti-Semitism was rising. People were being processed more than understood. Kafka didn't invent anxiety. He just documented what happens when systems get bigger than humans. Kafka wrote fiction that feels like a bad dream, but the kind where everything is technically logical. Let's break down 3 core ideas. The trial. Guilt without explanation. In the trial, a man named Joseph K. is arrested one morning. For what crime? No one tells him. The system insists he's guilty. The system refuses to explain why. What they said, justice is being served. What they meant, we don't owe you clarity. Modern analogy, trying to appeal an algorithmic ban. Your account is restricted. Reason, violated guidelines. Which guideline? Silence. Kafka understood that power doesn't need to explain itself, only to keep operating. The Metamorphosis. Identity as a bug. Gregor Samsa wakes up one day and discovers he's turned into a giant insect. No magic explanation, no cure quest, no redemption arc. What they said? He became a bug. What they meant? Society treats you like one the moment you stop being useful. Gregor isn't punished for wrongdoing. He is punished for no longer functioning. This is burnout before burnout had a name. The castle, endless access denied. A man tries to gain access to a mysterious castle that governs everything. He fills forms, talks to officials, waits more. He never gets in. What they said, the process is ongoing. What they meant, you will never arrive. Kafka basically invented the concept of pending. Okay, pause. Because this part is unhinged. Kafka writes these bleak existential stories while working at an insurance office, filling accident reports, arguing about safety regulations. This man would go to work, spend 8 hours inside bureaucracy, then come home and write, "What if bureaucracy was infinite and crushed your soul forever?" And the wildest part? He still thought his writing wasn't good. Imagine inventing a whole genre, existential dread, and thinking, yeah, this probably sucks. That level of imposter syndrome should be illegal. Kafka changed literature by doing something radical. He removed meaning. Not metaphorically, literally. No clear morals, no tidy lessons, no heroes who win. This influenced modernist literature, existential philosophy, absurdist theater, political critic, post-war art. Writers like Camus, Stach, Orwell all drank from the Kafka well. He gave language to a feeling people didn't know how to describe yet. Kafka is everywhere now. Customer service bots, surveillance culture, algorithmic decision-making, workplace burnout, immigration systems, social credit scores, identity crisis online. Whew! Ever felt like you're being evaluated by rules no one explains? Congrats, that's Kafka. The internet didn't create existential dread, it just automated it. Here's what Kafka teaches us quietly, without shouting. You don't need to be loud to describe something deeply true. Kafka didn't scream about injustice. He showed how it feels to live inside it. And maybe that's why he hits so hard now. Because so many of us feel stuck inside systems we didn't choose, optimizing ourselves for rules we don't understand, blaming ourselves for failures that aren't personal. Kafka reminds us, feeling lost doesn't mean you're broken. It might mean the system is. Kafka matters because he explains a quiet fear we all share. What if I'm doing everything right and it still doesn't work? His work validates confusion. It dignifies doubt. It tells you you're not crazy for feeling this way. And sometimes that's enough. Kafka once wrote about a man standing before a gate that was meant only for him, yet he never enters. So here's the challenge. Ask yourself where you're waiting for permission you were never meant to need, because the gate might not be locked. It might just be imaginary.